So we're here today to teach people how to water. This is the same demo we did in a community garden last weekend that people really liked. So what we have over here is there are two types of soil. This over here is potting soil. So it's the same as typical pots that you actually buy out there. This here is ground soil. Most people, after buying a pot, actually go home and actually put the plant into the ground, which is actually recommended because ground soil is usually made out of clay or clay loam, so it holds water way better. Here's one GeoDrops unit. We call this a droplet because it's shaped like a water drop. Now what's special over here is we made a special cutout version in order to install a display. So over here is the moisture level of the potting soil. Surface level 1 inch 84%, second inch 54%, and then deep down at the third inch 79%. And then here's the moisture for the ground soil or clay soil. It's really hard to control both of them to the same moisture, so we try to control the surface. All right. Notice how we're starting with the same amount of water on both sides. Okay, so first of all, notice I've used way more water for the potting soil than I did for the clay soil. I stopped pouring because the hole that I dug out over here, it's all filled with water and still soaking. A lot of time people have a sense in terms of how much water is needed for a pot like this, because you know when the water is coming down through the bottom of the pot. So you're like, hey, if I were to plant this into a ground soil like this, I should water roughly the same. But the answer is no. You need to water way more slower. That's why drips are really great for ground soil. You need more water, maybe 50% more water. Now here's the fascinating part about clay soil. For potting soil like this, that water will evaporate after about 3 to 4 days. But the same is not true for clay soil. The water can actually stay down here for as long as maybe even 2 weeks. And so the best way to water is plant your plant into the ground, right? You don't want pure clay soil because it's going to kill your plant roots. But the clay soils are really, really efficient in terms of watering. Water slowly, water deeply. Water a little bit like this. Make sure the surface is wet. Walk away. Come back about an hour to 2 hours later. Water more. That way, you water all the way to the bottom. You are really efficient in terms of water use. Your plant is happy because all its roots are getting all the water it actually needs. In the meantime, there's very little water evaporation loss. Now, let's take a look at the soil sensor readings. This is the potting soil. The surface has gotten to 97%. It's almost fully saturated, right? But notice the bottom, just because of how much the water is actually spreading around. Now, let's look at the clay soil. The surface is also at 97%, right? Because it's soaking wet. But look at the bottom. The water is not getting down there. It takes a very long time. And so this entire demo basically says, hey, if you want to be efficient, you need to learn how to water. But for many people who actually have a busy life or just wants all of these automated, this is where GeoDrops help. GeoDrops understands the different soil depth. It's designed for outdoor. It can directly control your irrigation system. Or if you water by hand, it actually sends you a reminder. It will actually teach you how frequently to water, and if you haven't watered enough, it'll tell you, hey, keep watering. Hey, keep watering. Keep watering until you get the bottom, the root of the plants wet. That's what GeoDrops do.